vote for the other person instead of
Not
you, rather
wrong.
than reasons to vote for you. And it's sad because we always talk about that. This is how we end up with a lot of our dirty politicians, full-time politicians, you know, because it's never about whenever we get somebody right here in Michigan, great example. In the primaries, we had two great people running that were running campaigns on what they were going to do for Michigan. And we had Tudor Dixon that ran smear campaigns against them, and she won. Whitmer ran smear campaigns against Tudor Dixon because Tudor Dixon flipped and tried to play the I'm going to do this, this, and this for Michigan rather than why you shouldn't vote for Whitmer. That's why
Yeah, I
you
know,
never
but
hear a campaign ad that says vote for me, I will do this, 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 and this. No, it's such and such said this, such and such did this, such and such did this. Do you want
that's
this person
that's
leading you?
yeah, that's the politician's playbook. It's not about what they're. I mean, yes, in the beginning they're going to say what they're going to do, but mainly they're going to be like, well, this person did this, this, and this. You think they're not going to do this to you? You know, I. It's ridiculous, and it's not just a Democrat thing. Republicans do it also.
Yeah,
I've
the
seen
hard
plenty
part
of
too though is
Republicans.
when it comes to like general Republicans um tend to vote more moralistically, I think. Democrats literally in your state vote for a dead person because he had a D.
Um, yeah, because that happened in Pennsylvania. There was
Yeah. You
a
told me
local
about it and I
government.
looked it up.
Yeah, that was
You know,
because they
they
couldn't change the ballot because he died within the ballot was created. I'm like, but people knew he died, but we still voted for him because nobody give a shit because
right,
there was a dem.
right, exactly. That's how your state voted for a barely functional senator because he had a D. So they don't care so much how bad their guy is. So what they need to do is smear the Republicans enough to sway the independents.
Honestly, I
And
wish they would get rid of the party system. And
they
you
can't.
have to just. I know, I know we
Well,
can't. I'm not saying that we can or can't. I'm just saying, kind of. Granted, yes, you're affiliated to a party, but you can't run as a party member until you win.
right.
So you must be able to prove yourself,
The
kind of thing.
the hard part is with the party system is it goes all the way back to the Democrats and the Whigs and the Tories or whatever it is and the you know um
Because I got into a discussion with a friend of mine from work because they were like, oh yeah, how they're rooting. He's like, you do realize the United States is a republic, not a democracy. You want to see a true democracy? Go look at England's parliament or look at Canada's parliament. That's a democracy. That's literally a group of people shouting back and forth.
no
That's all it
here
is.
great example of democracy. Let me share this Chrome tab.
Too many of
All
you
right.
think too highly of democracy without thinking about how stupid it is
Can you
sometimes.
see it?
Remember, not that long ago, California's
No,
authoritarian legislator and governor decided to ban flavor to
man. What is up with my side of Riverside?
Uh,
Let me try it again. Do we got it now?
I just got like three dots like it's loading. Just play it. I'll listen to the words.
Okay.
Too many of you think too highly of democracy without thinking about how stupid it is sometimes.
Can you hear it?
Remember, not that long ago, California's authoritarian legislator and governor decided to ban flavored tobacco for the children. And then the voters were given a chance to throw out the dumb law, and they decided, you know what? What California needs is more prohibition. And the argument to ban flavored tobacco goes something like this. If you have flavors like bubblegum and pineapple, cotton candy and cherry, why children are attracted to those flavors. As though adults don't also like those flavors, but children are attracted to those flavors, and that'll cause them to buy tobacco, despite the fact that it was already illegal for them to buy tobacco. So the argument really was that prohibition wasn't working, so we need more prohibition, and that we need to ban those flavors specifically, even though we won't ban those flavors in alcohol or condoms, other things we don't want children engaging in, because that prohibition wouldn't work. So prohibition where we want it to work will work, but it won't work where we don't want it to work. Make sense? Yeah, that's because voters don't need to think. They just need to act. And often they act stupid. Cheers.
Yep. That's from Hourly Struggle, at Hourly Struggle on TikTok. So, I mean, that's democracy. It's, as the old saying goes, democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for dinner. Republic is two wolves and a sheep, and the sheep has an AK-47, and they decide.
No, I mean, George Carlin always said that that the politicians control the news and the narrative, because the worst thing they could have with ideas and knowledge and a way of thought, because as long as they're thinking they're about what's going on, they're not being controlled. Basically, everybody that's falling for the shit is being controlled. The thing is, the right, I will say this, they're running out of conspiracy theories left and right, especially with the Twitter files coming out. Because everything we have been saying for the last 2.5 years,
right down to
literally is just home run after home run. And it's like, you can't be mad at us because we're seeing through the bullshit.
Right.
We're seeing it.
So here's the thing. Okay, before we get into the Twitter files,
part deuce.
Remember, Twitter is really a big part of what got Donald Trump elected in 2016.
Yes, but back then, I will say this, people could say whatever they wanted to say, and nobody fucking gave a shit.
So remember when Barack Obama started using Facebook in 2012 or 2010, and then Twitter, they said that Barack Obama was a genius for using Facebook and Twitter to win the election. Donald Trump's team did the exact same thing, used Facebook and Twitter to win the election. As soon as he won, all of a sudden, Facebook and Twitter started putting out, and the left started putting out this, everything is misinformation. You look at the stats, the amount of misinformation, or disinformation, should I say, because, okay, first let's get the terms correct. Disinformation is what a foreign government does to another government. The U.S. has had disinformation campaigns in other countries over the years, during the Cold War especially, where they flood the streets with basically propaganda to try to get a certain person elected or not get a certain thing to go. All right. That's disinformation. Misinformation, and the left uses this interchangeably. That's why I'm giving out the definitions. Misinformation is where I either don't tell you the whole story and I leave out key parts of it so that the story looks different than what it is. Case in point, Donald Trump said Mexicans are rapists and murderers. That's misinformation. He did not call Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said MS-13, the gang from Mexico, are rapists and murderers. Donald Trump said that white supremacists were fine people. Again, not true. He said the white supremacists basically were evil and shouldn't have been there, but there were fine people on both sides also. So that's misinformation. Now, when we get into the Twitter files, and I read through a lot of them on Twitter and followed this string as far as I can, because the hard part with these strings is that you have to follow like the main comment in the string, but then you have to follow like the break off comments that they then reply to and all this stuff. And
Oh Jesus, yeah.
you go down
I mean,
a rabbit
there's
hole.
just so this is the first one was what, Mark, and this one is now Barbara Weiss.
Yes.
Barbie Weiss. This part of the what is great is based on the first one. They had to check with the Twitter's lawyer happened to be a former FBI agent.
That not just a former FBI agent, he was the former FBI agent that worked on the Donald Trump Russia collusion scandal that never existed.
So
he's the one
so
that got
that
the
was-
FISA court and everything. That's why he's no longer an FBI, working for the FBI.
Well, Elon Musk had terminated him when they connected all the dots, so he is no longer working for Twitter either, which now proves again the FBI is not our friend.
No.
I have a friend of mine, her sister works for the FBI. I really want to question this now.
I have a family member that works for the Secret Service, but
I had a family member who worked for the Secret Service too.
I don't ever really talk to him because he's always gone. I'll see him like once every 5 years at unfortunately, like a funeral or something like that. But but anyway, so the thing is with all of this, we already know from the interview that Mark Zuckerberg gave to Joe Rogan that the FBI told them what, weeks before,
to suppress it, to
basically
not allow that, to allow the Hunter Biden laptop to
and
move stride.
right, and that they're, you know, quote unquote intelligence people that evidently all happened to be part of the Biden campaign at the time, said that it was Russian disinformation when they knew within hours that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Then we get part 2, where you find out afterwards that they banned, or shadow banned, as the term is.
They built blacklists.
They put
prevented
mechanisms in to make it so that Dan Bongino couldn't be searched in Twitter. That Charlie, you know what? I'm gonna play the video.
Yeah, we have a video. Great
so,
video, breaks this down.
Yeah,
Fucking
she
fantastic.
She does great. Is that showing? Let me see.
Yes.
Okay.
Twitter Files Part 2 officially literally just dropped, and we're about to cover what went on. If you aren't sure what the Twitter Files are or what went on, go check out my original video on it in my feed. Okay, so the Twitter Files Part 2 is being dropped by a journalist by the name of Bari Weiss, who is the founder and editor of a publication called The Free Press. And Elon Musk is sharing it. And basically, the Twitter Files Part 2 is addressing Twitter's secret blacklist, because they told many people numerous times that they, in fact, did not blacklist anyone when they actually did. Bari Weiss explains that a new Twitter Files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees built blacklists, prevented disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limited the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret without informing users. She goes on to explain that originally there were no barriers implemented within Twitter. Everyone could share their whatever they wanted to freely and openly. However, barriers were obviously implemented and things kept getting more and more extreme. She then goes on to show various examples and screenshots of literally the back end of how Twitter would basically ban, block, or just suppress the information from certain users. This is a picture from the account of Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, and I'm sorry for butchering that name, but he spoke out against lockdowns and his account was very actively suppressed. You can see in yellow, he was put on the Trends blacklist. Dan Bongino, another conservative talk show host, he had his account basically slapped with a search blacklist. So if anyone wanted to search for him, he wouldn't come up on Twitter. Another conservative influencer by the name of Charlie Kirk, he had basically a thing on it that said, do not amplify. So none of his tweets were reaching the actual amount of followers that he really had. And again, Twitter denied all of these things publicly many times. For instance, in 2018, Twitter's Vijaya Gad, who was then the head of legal policy and trust, she came out and said, quote, "We do not shadow ban." And then they added, "And we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology." Previous Twitter employees explained that Twitter would use visibility filtering as a way to suppress what people would see at certain levels. The person went on to say, quote, "We control visibility quite a bit and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do." The people who decided this was a secret group comprised of a handful of people, which included head of legal, policy and trust, which is Vijaya Gad, then the global head of trust and safety, whose name was Yoel Roth, and then CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, along with others. Regardless of your political leanings, this is not cool. Not cool. Love to hear your thoughts.
And that is from Megan Makes a, what is that?
Comedy.
Megan Makes Comedy. So follow her on Twitter. So that
TikTok.
or TikTok. Yeah. Not Twitter. We're talking about Twitter and TikTok. Oh, my brain is fried. I just came from wrestling practice. My brain is fried. I have a tournament tomorrow.
But now, I mean, one of those on there, number 16, is when they were bringing up libs of TikTok. And we actually did a thing on libs of TikTok, last year?
Yeah.
About
they've been suspended by Twitter like 5 times, and they have to fight legally to get back on.
Correct. So that kind of now fills in the gap of why they had to do what they had to do just to be able to post. And
but this takes us back to what you said that George Carlin said, which is the media controls what we see and think. I work for the media. Our editors, our owners, all of them always reminded us when we were, pitching stories, and he definitely reminded me a lot because I'm like the lone conservative of everywhere I worked, that we're the gatekeepers. We tell the people what they need to know. Well, Twitter broke that trend, and that's why Donald Trump won in 2016. Twitter broke that trend. Because remember, the media was trying to suppress everything about Hillary Clinton's emails and all that stuff. Even the stuff that Comey said at the end, the media was trying to suppress it, but they couldn't. They had to follow it up because it was trending on Twitter and Facebook. And it was getting everywhere. It was all over. Another one that makes me think about this. Remember Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yep.
You could not search Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, no.
You could search variations of it that people figured out to get around it. So, you misspelled Rittenhouse. You left the E off at the end, or, you'd put hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse or Kyle Rittenhouse or Rattenhouse, or, you misspell his name, and then you could find what you were looking for. But you could not find a story on the trial or anything until after he was acquitted when you search his actual name.
Oh yeah, and then people are still and all. And then Adam Schiff he's not happy. God, I really hope he gets indicted. Because God knows like what he did just to get in the position he's in. But overall, it is absolutely not the greatest of fucking things you can think of for the American public. Because one, this is a breach of everyone's trust. Because everyone assumes that what we are being given is the absolute truth. This is what's going on, and
Well,
this is why
we assume that what the news is giving us is just what they want to give us. But we assume that when you go on social media broke that trend that anybody could be. That's how you got the term citizen journalist. Most
Oh yeah.
quote unquote citizen journalists. I went to conferences and everything back when Twitter and Facebook were young, talking to people that were citizen journalists, and their platform was Twitter and Facebook. They had a website, sure, but you know, it was Twitter and Facebook, and they were posting videos from their iPhones and from their phones up and putting it up on Twitter so that people could see the raw footage
Oh
rather
yeah.
than the doctored footage or the edited footage on that they would see on, the local news station. And again, for what, Twitter came out in 2009, I think, a couple years after
Yeah.
Facebook. For a few years, almost 10 years, maybe, that's exactly what Twitter was. Facebook was the I'm going to connect with friends. Twitter became I'm going to connect with organizations and trends and find out what's really happening. My newspaper, we had a Twitter account that it was my job to scrape articles from our news and put them on Twitter. And we got a ton of traffic off of Twitter because we reached people that were outside of our normal viewing area.
Oh yeah.
And it was my job to figure out what the hashtags were and all that stuff. I hated it. I would never be a social media consultant or anything like that. It's just, it's mind numbing. But so that's the thing with Twitter and Facebook is, when people say, where do you get your news? Well, it's not uncommon to say, you ask me, where do I get most of my news? Well, I get most of my news from Facebook. But it's not actually coming from Facebook. It's either coming from a news organization that posted on Facebook. So it's really my information is from that news source, but it's delivered to me through Facebook.
Yeah.
Or I get my news from Twitter, but it's not actually Twitter outside of citizen journalists. It's whatever news organization or person that wrote it. I just got that information disseminated to me. When Twitter starts doing these shadow bans, which essentially that's what they are. They're shadow bans when you try to stop the reach from Dan Bongino, Ben Shapiro, all of these conservatives, but
Project
not do
Veritas.
Project Veritas, Libs of TikTok. Do you know, so I subscribe to Libs of TikTok.
James Gunn. James Gunn is, I know, preparing to sue. Actually, he's already talking and posted he's planning on suing the Biden administration.
Yeah.
Because there was all those tweets from the last thread that came out because of all the stuff that he was posting on Twitter. They were making sure all his shit got suppressed and or taken down. So he's already believing that, he's going for a class action lawsuit. And that would be fucking amazing because it would teach whoever decided to think that they were above and beyond everything a fucking lesson about, hey, we have a freedom of speech thing in the United States.
And that's where the left gets it wrong, because they think, putting conservatives, putting people we don't agree with on TikTok or on Twitter or on Facebook, that's misinformation. That's, and misinformation. No, put everybody on. I don't care if you're a white supremacist. I don't care if you're a black supremacist. I want to
except for Kanye West. No, he can just go.
Well, no,
he needs to go take a nap somewhere.
I don't want to see him go, because I want all of their stuff out there, because that's how you argue with it. And if you don't do that, then you are suppressing free speech. I don't care if you're a private platform. You're a platform. And if you're a platform that said, okay, let's take this into the real world. If you're a restaurant that says, I'm only going to allow white people in, what would happen?
Oh, that's just asking for fucking trouble right there.
Right. Now, imagine if a private company on the internet said, show me your driver's license and prove that you're white to get in. Isn't that the same thing? But the left wants that when it comes to conservatives. Or let's take it away from there. All right, because the Supreme Court's taken up another thing about gay marriage. All right.
Sure. Yep.
Imagine you created a platform, social platform, open to everybody, free speech, all of that, but you're not going to allow any homosexuals on there because you don't believe in homosexuality. You believe it's a sin. Wouldn't they have a lawsuit against you for discriminating against them?
Yeah.
Right. That's not an immutable characteristic. That's not like being white or black. You can't change your skin color unless you're Michael Jackson. That is discriminating against someone's beliefs and someone's viewpoints, their ideologies, their actions. All right. If the left believes that Twitter is okay for doing that to conservatives, wouldn't it be disingenuous to say that it would be wrong if Elon Musk did that to leftists or did that to homosexuals and said, we're not going to allow gays on here? The left would be up in arms because it limits their free speech. Or he said, hey, we're just not, we're going to let you, on here, but you can only talk to the few friends that are on your list, which is essentially what they did to Dan Bongino. You can't search him. Yeah. So unless you were already on his list, you're not going to see or be able to interact with him. Again, the left would be up in arms, but they're okay if it happens to the other side. I'm not okay with it if it happens to any side. I don't care if you're the worst, woke teacher in the world trying to trans the kids. I want your shit up there so that I can point it out to everybody else and go, look at this person. This is what's going on.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, making fun of people is easy, and calling them out for their dumb shit, and I understand. I understand what your concept is. I also understand why a private entity will have certain guidance.
Certain things, yeah. You call for violence against a person? No. You put child pornography up? No. You put, that type of stuff. That's not free speech. But if you're saying oh, this person doesn't believe in gay marriage, therefore he's a hater and we're going to suppress his account. Unless he's calling for specifically hurting somebody or a group of people, that's free speech.
Oh no, I completely understand. But best thing about this is that, I mean, they said it best when Elon Musk took over Twitter. He didn't just take over a company; he took over a crime scene, and he is just letting everybody have it. Um, but the it's and all and everything everybody's been saying about it. The thing is, they want to sit there and you want to make a problem, but yet you're not looking at what. And the thing is, it's not like Elon Musk did all this. He is showing what the prior holding, the management and the teams did before he got there. It's like, hey, this doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. Here, just because everyone wants to know, I'm gonna let everyone see it.
Well,
So,
they say sunlight is the best disinfectant.
yep.
Um,
And supposedly there's gonna be a third coming out soon, so we're gonna keep an eye on that when that happens. Um,
are we thinking like weekly, every Friday? Because this one was on Friday, last one was on a Friday.
man, if it is every Friday, it's gonna be an awesome part at the beginning of our. Uh, so we're gonna move on a little bit. So Brittany Gardner is home. Um,
Yay! Let me get out the cheers. Hold on. Where's
I
the
will
cheers?
say this, yes. It's a little bit more clapping than. That was a little bit more enthusiasm than I would have given, but okay. Um, yes, okay. I will say this. Yes, she is a United States citizen. Yes, she should have been home. There is another gentleman, I forgot his name, who was arrested in August of 2021
Yes.
for the same crime, bringing less than an ounce of medical marijuana for his spinal injury, who's doing a 14-year term.
Yep.
But
But he's not a WNBA black woman.
no one's made a stink. It never made the news, so no one gives a shit. But then there's Paul, who's a Marine. I should, while we're talking about this, there's a TikToker who did a very, very terrible about it, but we'll get into it. I'll find it as we're talking. Bernie Griner talked about how the United States is not a great place, doesn't want to have the national anthem. She needled. I don't think whatsoever that she should have had that ability to. But it looks like it was done last Thursday. KGP said it was either Brittany or nobody at all. But this came down to fucking Joe Biden. This was a Joe Biden deal.
Yeah.
So he had every, I know Trump tried to get Paul back. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Did he offer him the Merchant of Death? That's the question. Because, listen, the guy that I'm gonna Wikipedia this guy because there was what movie was based on him?
And I found the TikToker. I'll play that here in a second. But okay, the Merchant of Death. He's actually a real person. We actually did a movie about this dude. Nicolas Cage played him.
Yeah,
Lord of War.
Lord
Watch
of War.
it.
That was it. Yes.
Fucking 2005. And the federal government even admits they did dealings with Victor during the Iraqian war. How do you think we got some of those planes for drops?
So Wikipedia. Here, I'll just show this real quick. Window.
This guy should have never seen the light of fucking day again.
Wikipedia. Victor. I'm not even gonna try his middle name.
Victor Bout.
Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer, an entrepreneur, and former Soviet military translator. He used his multiple companies to smuggle weapons.
Cold War weapons.
Yep.
In
Starting
the,
during
in the,
the collapse
millions.
of the Soviet Union, from Eastern Europe to Africa and the Middle East during the 1990s and early 2000s. Bout gained the nickname the Merchant of Death and Sanctions Buster after British government minister Peter Hahn read a report to the United Nations in 2003 on Bout's wide-reaching operations, extensive clientele, and willingness to bypass embargoes. In a U.S. sting operation, Bout was arrested on March 6, 2008 in Thailand on terrorism charges by the Royal Thai Police in cooperation with American authorities and Interpol. The U.S. ambassador to Thailand requested his extradition under the Extradition Act with Thailand, which was eventually mandated by the Thailand High Court in August 2010. Bout was accused of intending to sell arms to a U.S. DEA informer pretending to represent the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia for use against U.S. forces in Colombia, but denied the charges and predicted an acquittal. On November 2nd, 2011, Bout was convicted by a jury in Manhattan Federal Court of conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens and officials, delivery of anti-aircraft missiles, and providing aid to terrorist organizations, and was sentenced to a minimum of 25 years imprisonment. Really? All of that, and he got 25 years? In
Of
June
federal
2012 until December 2022, Bout was held in the United States Penitentiary Marion before being released in a prisoner exchange for U.S. basketball player Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here to see if like there's like a list of everything that he's done.
No, a lot of that got sealed under federal court. So the movie Lord of War almost depicts of what he has done. Stealing ships, subs, aircraft, Cold War weapons.
He sold to both Al Qaeda and the Taliban.
He's armed almost all of Africa.
He armed most of Afghanistan.
Yep.
Let's see.
But I want you to play something because I don't care. I mean, I listen to some people that are on the left because sometimes some of them are pretty. You could actually have a conversation. This one you could have a conversation with, but what this person is saying doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense.
Is this the one?
Nope, I got it on my screen.
Okay. Well, let me kick it off then.
Oh, wrong button.
Hey there.
Oh,
I
her,
don't know
yeah.
if it's gonna help, but here is a little bit more context to all the whatabouts that are happening now that Brittany Griner has been exchanged for Victor Bout. Every single very scary picture you're seeing of Victor Bout is from 2008, and the nickname the Merchant of Death was coined by a British newspaper to sell newspapers. Why aren't they ever showing this picture of Victor? Or this one, which is what he actually looks like now? Because fear sells, babies. Now let's talk about Paul Whelan. Paul Whelan holds citizenship in Canada, where he was born, the UK, the United States, where he served in the Marines, and Ireland. All 4 countries have negotiated for his release since 2018 when he was accused of being a spy. Trump himself couldn't negotiate with Russia to get Whelan back home, and Trump got a lot of Americans detained abroad back home. He got ASAP Rocky out of Sweden in like 15 minutes. Trump also noted he was concerned that Whelan had a bad conduct discharge from $10,000 when he was in Iraq. And when he was given the choice, Biden did choose the U.S. Marine over Brittany Griner the first time we did a prisoner swap with Russia a couple months ago. Hey there. I don't know if this is going to help, but here is a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't. Yes. Okay. So the information that's out there that's being shown, yeah, it's from 2008. But what
Right.
Victor
People
has
change when
done,
they're sitting in a jail cell.
yeah, but what Victor has done is unimaginable.
That's like
I-
saying the son of Sam is, just an old guy now. What's it matter what he did back in the 70s?
He armed Africa. I mean, a lot of the guerrilla warfare now, they were using most likely machetes and pistols. Now they're armed with fully automatic rifles, tanks, armed vehicles. You can name it, all thanks to Victor. A lot of the supply he got was from Russia after the Cold War was ceased, because
Right.
they had so much crap to get rid of. He bought it
And
on
they
pennies.
didn't keep good track of where it was.
No.
So he had the means to be able to get a hold of that.
Oh
and
yeah,
sell
he
it.
knew where it all was, and just made it vanish and made a hell of a profit for himself. And so it's not like, oh yes, now yes, he's some old guy. Coined Merchant of the Death? Yes, because he sold weapons to anybody and everybody.
If you
with
had the
money.
he would sell you a jet.
I think he did sell jets. I don't know.
I think in Lord of War he did. It's been
I
a long
think,
time
but
since I saw that.
it's a good lord.
And
I
I
need to
hate
watch it.
and I hate Nicolas Cage, so I probably was cringing through the whole movie.
I'm not. I like I can give you a handful of movies I was okay with Nicolas Cage in. Not all of his movies, but I can count them on at least on one hand. But I'm sorry. If you're going to another country, and they have laws against something, just because you come from the United States that allows you to have said object doesn't mean you are safe going to that other country.
It's the same thing when people, go to other countries and protest or something, and then they get arrested and they go, well, where's the free speech? It's like, well, we have the First Amendment free speech here in the US. They don't have that everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you go to that country and you break the law, I'm sorry to say, you broke the law in another country. So, I mean, I backpack, like I think we talked about this when Griner was first arrested. I backpacked through Europe one summer. I didn't know the laws on tobacco and stuff going from one country to another country, what I could and couldn't take, any of that. I smoked at the time. Every time we went to another country, I threw out the pack of cigarettes, crossed into the other country, went and bought another pack. Because I didn't know their smoking laws. And then I just kind of followed suit. Are people smoking indoors? Are they smoking outdoors? Are they, in certain areas? Some places I did have to go to certain smoking areas in the city to be able to smoke, so, that's the thing. When you travel to another country, you take precautions for yourself that you don't break their laws.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't even take prescription some prescription medicines with me because I was afraid. I didn't know what their laws were on it. And like painkillers and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So Peter Ducey's asking KGP about Brittany Griner.
Here were our choices. Our choices was Brittany or no one at all. Bringing home one American or no American at all. And
they
that's
gave up a professional athlete. We gave up a prolific arms dealer who was convicted of trying to kill Americans, who was called the Merchant of Death.
the professional athlete is also an American citizen.
I'm fucking sorry. Her ass should have stayed in fucking jail.
How about no one at all? We either give the Merchant of Death for her or no one at all. Okay, then
No one at all.
then the answer is no one at all.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is backfired. I think a lot of people are like, we sent an arms dealer back, and
A
make
terrorist.
this even funnier.
Let's take it for what it is. He's a terrorist.
Sure. So, you know how strict Biden is with guns, right? He wants to take all the guns off the street.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna send out the best gun salesman in the world back on the street. Tell me that makes a lick of sense whatsoever. Because that doesn't make sense at all. You want to keep guns off the street, but you're going to send the guy out that has no problem putting guns on your street, can get guns on the street. He will just airdrop them to you. And now with digital currency, man, he can just fucking make his money and not ever have to.
Bitcoin was just barely starting when he got arrested.
Oh man, if he learns all that shit, man, he ain't gonna get caught again. He won't. They're gonna know he's done it, but yet they can't. They'll never be able to trace it or prove it.
He'll have so much Bitcoin and Ethereum blocked by 20 different proxies, bounced all over the world that they won't know where the hell he is.
And the problem, and the best thing is that you gotta think about it. He probably still has an armory somewhere of anything he needs to sell.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. There's a war, Russia going against Ukraine, and this is speculation. This is my own thought. Think about it. Russia's probably running out of fucking ammo and guns.
They are. That's one of their big things right now is
He's gonna open up that to Vladimir Putin and said, "Here you go."
Yeah. All that Cold War
You give me-
armory that
he's
they
gonna be
got
like-
rid of and he took. They're like, hey, we need that. We need that back.
Victor's gonna be like, "You
Victor,
give me
Victor,
amnesty."
Come here. Victor, come here. Hey, we need your guns. We need your bullets. No, the bullets that you took from us, we need them back.
Yeah, Vladimir's gonna be like, "I will give you amnesty on all wrongdoing. You give us our stuff back."
Yeah.
Done. And the thing is, people are like, "Oh, he won't do anything." He has been doing this for over 20 some odd years. And yes, he went to jail back in 2000, whatever. What was it, 2005?
Well, 2008 is when they caught him in Thailand. 2010 is when they extradited him to the U.S. And then 2012 is when he actually went to the federal prison.
Okay.
So 10 years in the U.S.
So far, I mean, yeah. But all before then, like the 90s and the early 2000s, he has literally just flooded the market with guns. Yeah. You're not going to change the fucking stripes on that tiger. He will fucking just get right back at it. And then
If
the thing is,
literally thrown into a gulag. And they wouldn't trade him just to throw him into a gulag. And like, hey, you stole from us. We're throwing you in a gulag. It's like, hey, you stole from us. We'll throw you in us back what you have.
I mean, and then now I bet you.
And don't
So
forget,
Brittany-
he still has his connections. He has his
Oh,
connections
yeah.
in the Taliban. He has his connections in Al Qaeda. He has his connections in action. 10 years is not long enough to lose all them.
Oh no, and Brittany is going to be like, basketball is probably going to be behind her because now she's going to be a spokesperson for the Biden administration, and that's why you took less than an ounce of weed on a fucking plane with you.
Like, actually, I think it was a cartridge.
It was a THC vape cartridge, yes, but it was
Yeah.
still less than an ounce. But it's not the point. Can't have that shit in Russia.
No.
Don't give a shit where you're from.
Just like if you took it into Virginia.
That's why I
It's
leave
no-
my shit in a bag in my trunk.
But no, but
With my
certain-
medical card.
But certain states, even with a medical card, you go into there. It doesn't matter. I'm from Michigan. We have really relaxed marijuana laws. If I go into Ohio with it, they're not relaxed.
No. So, speaking of fucked up AIDS, so that just didn't sound right.
That's a weird transition, but okay.
AIDS, yeah. So, Sam Britton, is officially under arrest on a felony warrant for stealing luggage from a airport multiple times. He's in a habit. This dude looks like Matt Damon.
It looks like a weird bald Matt Damon. Like,
It does.
here, let me pull this up. So Sam Britton, a non-binary nuclear waste official in the Biden administration, is once again facing charges for attempting to steal luggage from an airport. This is from Yahoo News, raising
Yes.
doubts about Britain's insistence that the first incident was the result of a mix-up. Britton, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition at the Department of... There's actually spent
Yes.
fuel... Wow. Okay. Office of Nuclear Energy allegedly stole luggage from...
You remember all those positions Trump they were not necessary? Biden brought them all fucking back.
Yeah, this sounds like one of them. Allegedly stole luggage from Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada. You know what hurts me more than anything? They named a fucking airport after Harry Reid. I did not.
You're
know
not wrong
that.
there.
I did not know that until I read this, and now. Ooh. Anyway, there is a federal warrant out for Britain's arrest on grand larceny charges for stealing property worth $1,200 and $5,000. The Biden administration official whose appointment was widely touted as a historic accomplishment for the LGBT community was placed on leave in November after being charged with stealing luggage from a Minneapolis airport. In that instance, Britton allegedly grabbed a woman's Vera Bradley suitcase worth $2,325 with its contents from the baggage claim at the Minneapolis St. Paul airport on September 16th. So this is another one of those. Okay, so we've got this piece of shit. We have the what is she now? 5-star general that used to be the
Rachel Levine.
Rachel Levine. We have Karine Jean-Pierre, who's lesbian, I think.
Sure.
I think that was her
Yes.
thing, is that she's a black lesbian woman.
A French black lesbian woman.
French black lesbian woman. I don't know. Like, maybe you should stop hiring people based solely on their grouping or what they say they are. Like, what even is non-binary? He's neither man nor woman.
Thought that meant zeros and ones.
Well, binary is zeros and ones. Non-binary would mean you're not zero and not one.
Yep, but when he dies and archaeologists dig up our bones, they're gonna figure out if he's a man or woman.
Exactly. Let me ask you, dude, do you have a penis? As they said
I
in
think he tucks
kindergarten,
it. I think he tucks it in his dresses.
as kindergarten cop said, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Best line ever. God damn.
I think they said it twice in the movie. They said it once to Arnold Schwarzenegger and then once to the redhead that was his partner that I don't remember her name.
Yeah, so it never ceases to amaze me how
I don't
who
know
used
what
to
else
say
to say
fuck
about it.
Matt Damon all the time? Who's that? Who's an actor who? Oh, that was Adam Carolla. No,
Adam Carolla. Yes.
no.
I'm screwing.
no,
Matt
it was
Damon.
Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy
Yes,
Kimmel is the one
'cause
that
his wife at the time was what's her name? Oh God. She's a comedian also, and she played in a lot of Kevin Smith movies and stuff. Oh God. Sarah Silverman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let me bring up YouTube, and they've got to have it on YouTube. Because it's a great I'm fucking Matt Damon. Yeah, Sarah Silverman. This is great. This is like 6 minutes long, so let me get it to the actual video part of. There we go. Okay. So cancel that. Open that up. For
I
those of
have
you
the
that
videos
not
as
heard
this
this,
fucking
it's-
Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty funny. All right, is it showing?
It's up now.
All right.
Clip.
Hey, Jimmy, it's me. I'm in a hotel. I don't know. I've been on the road so long. I don't even know what city I'm in anymore, to be honest. Anyway, I've been thinking about you a lot, and I've been needing to tell you something. I don't know why I haven't, but it's important. I mean, we've been together for so long, over 5 years, and I still haven't told you, and it's just not right. So here it goes. I'm Matt Damon. I'm sorry, but it's true. I'm Matt Damon.
She's Matt Damon.
I'm not imagining it's you. I'm Matt Damon.
On the bed, on the floor, on a towel by the door, in the tub, in the car, up against the mini bar.
I'm Matt Damon.
She's Matt Damon.
While you're drinking diet Snapples. I said I'm Matt Damon.
She says she's Matt Damon. Hey, Kimmel, how do you like? Get it? It's like because I'm like talking about her breasts.
It's funny. Hey, Jim, don't take it bad. Remember all the good times we had. Like the time we went fishing and we caught a bunch of fish. Then you puked in the bucket of fish that we caught.
Oh, that's terrible.
Nah, nah.
Who's that knocking at my door? I'm fuck who?
I'm Matt Damon.
She's Matt Damon.
Matt D-A-M-O-N. Matt D-A-M-O-N. I'm Matt Damon.
She's Matt Damon.
And you know that I ain't lying.
I said I'm Matt Damon.
She's Matt Damon.
I see inside
I wish they'd stop bleeping
It's
it.
true, the insider has confirmed that she is in fact Matt Damon.
Last week when I was playing, I was Matt Damon.
Like an idiot to do your show and Regis and Kelly's show, she was definitely Matt Damon.
When I told you I was Matt Damon, I was Matt Damon. On the bed, on the floor, on the towel, by the door, in a tub, in the car, against the mini bar.
Yeah, I forgot about this whole.
David.
Matt Damon.
This is back when she
Matt
was
Damon.
So that's it. I think I was clear.
You did great.
Oh, it was okay.
Pretty damn good.
Anyway, we had a great run, Jim, and I hope there's no hard feelings. I hope we can be friends. I'm friends with all my boyfriends, my old boyfriends, so if anything isn't clear, you need closure of some kind, please call my publicist, Amy Zvi, at BNCPL. So take care.
You know what? Stop right there. Jimmy, we're out of time. Sorry.
You are so bad.
A little bit. Let's put that guitar down and go Matt Damon.
Oh,
Yep,
back in the day when Jimmy Kimmel was actually funny to watch. I actually enjoyed watching him.
Yeah, no, his political irony is just fucking atrocious sometimes.
That was definitely a marriage that you knew was not really gonna last, though.
Yeah. Sarah Silverman, what did you expect? No. All right, moving on. So there is a bit of good news for our military people out there. They finally fucking scrapped the goddamn COVID mandate. So they are, all those that left because they didn't want to get the vaccine are encouraged to come back.
Yeah, because they lost a shit ton of people.
Yeah. The question is, are they going to get backdated the money that they lost?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Which would be nice. I mean, New York's doing it. Why not?
Well, and the thing is, but they didn't just say, "Hey, we're not going to do this." This was like a concession the Dems had to make in order to pass the bill, the spending bill.
Yeah. So
They said, "Oh, we'll pass the spending bill, or the Republicans will pass the spending bill, but you have to stop requiring military to vax, because we all know by now it don't do shit."
I gotta know. I gotta know who the 80 people were in the House that voted nay. So the bill passed to end the COVID vaccine mandate for the military. 350 to 80.
Well, and here's where I didn't, because I mean the AP News just says House passes defense bill scrapping COVID vaccine mandate. What they don't tell you is what else may have possibly.
That's always the concession of what was hiding in the bill, because never really goes into detail of what was hidden in the bill unless you actually read the bill.
Right. That's
But
again
sometimes
the other
finding
part of,
those bills are a pain in the ass.
yeah, and that's the other part of a lot of these bills. And I'm hoping that the Republicans, although I doubt it, will start doing straight up and down bills where it's one topic and they say we're putting it to a vote. So if you vote no for it, you're only voting no for this bill for this specific thing. Like, say there was a bill just to remove vax mandates, and it wasn't tied to the defense spending bill, which,
Right.
as we talked about last week, they upped the money for the defense spending.
Why? So the Pentagon can lose another couple $1 trillion?
Yeah, they can't account for $2 trillion, $2.5 trillion. So let's give them another $3 trillion on top of it.
Right? Why not?
Like, what the fuck? Not saying we
And-
don't need money for defense, we do, but like, let's hold people accountable.
And then on top of that, on Thursday, the same day, they approved the Brittany Griner release. This got slipped in, and no one fucking talked about it, which was Biden releasing nearly $36 billion to aid pension for union workers.
Yep.
I
So
think he does a very good job at talking about it.
in 20 seconds, no less.
Oh yeah.
Well, this can explain why we had such a bad deal in the Brittany Griner trade. Biden releasing nearly $36 billion to aid pensions of union workers. And they stuck this right by you on the same day. And this is money that they don't have to pay back.
Correct. It's money literally. So the Teamsters Union is one of the biggest unions in
Probably
the
one of
United
the
States.
most corrupt. I was forced at one point to be a Teamster. Oh, by the way, while we're at it, one of the Democrats' goals for this next couple years is Michigan became a right to work state, which means you're not forced to join a union when you get a job. They want to take that away and make Michigan not a right to work state, so that certain jobs you are forced to join the union. Like when I worked for the DNR, I was forced to be a Teamster and pay dues to the Teamsters, which I didn't agree with. My wife was forced to be a member of ACLU, which did jack shit for her, and she didn't agree with anything except they love putting out leftist propaganda during voting.
I was with ASME, and ASME was like that also.
But when Michigan became a right to work state, they said, hey, you cannot be fired or you cannot be not hired just because you refuse to join a union. You can join it if you want, and if you want their protections and everything, but you don't have to.
Yeah. Well, no, that was a forgot what that was. That was a bill that got passed because of a lawsuit, to where you don't have to be a part of that. That happened back in 2017, where they either you're a part of the union or you still pay dues even if you were or weren't. Where then they got rid of that. So actually,
Well, it's
my
state by
best friend's
state, though.
dad,
It's
my
state
best
by
friend's
state, though.
dad was a treasurer for Teamsters in Washington D.C. I hadn't. I mean, he's as right winged as worse than anybody that I've ever talked to. He's like all right.
So he's like old style Republican.
Oh yeah, he is Ronald Reagan Republican.
Yeah.
Like hardcore. But I mean, I don't know how I can agree. I mean, I understand what it looks like is that the federal government is fulfilling pensions. So when
Yeah,
you
that's
have a
what they are.
pension, you have to be a part of it for so long, and then you get it at the
Yeah,
end.
usually like you're there for say 20 years and you get like a 70 or 80%. But if you're there for 30 years or 40 years or 25 years or whatever, then you're vested at 100%.
Yeah.
Which,
Where I
like
worked
a-
at, it was 10 years for investment, Full vestment was at 20.
Yeah. So like I have friends that are teachers because I'm looking into going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And the teachers that are there are holding on for another couple years because they, even though they can retire right now at their age, they're waiting for full vestment in
to get
order
their full
to
retirement.
to get the full. And they got it nice because they got that pension plus they got a 401 retirement. Now a lot of places are getting rid of pensions.
Yeah, pensions.
For just 401s.
Yeah.
And my mom actually is kicking herself because she had the choice when she worked for the DNR when they switched that she could either do the pension or the 401. Well, she thought, well, I'll just retire at 60 and get my 401. Well, now she's kicking herself because had she stuck with the pension, she would have been retiring at about the same time, but because the pension isn't tied to the stock market and all that, yeah.
Yeah. That is the terrible
I have no
thing.
problem with pensions in and of themselves.
No, pensions themselves are actually
I think
actually a great thing.
Recruiting tool. Yeah.
Yes, and all, but if you really think about this, he's trying to get over 350,000 people to retire now.
Right.
Because he's fulfilling their rest of their pension obligation. How is this any different than a PPP loan?
That they don't have to pay back. So yeah.
How is it different? Tell me how it's fucking different, please. You know what I noticed when I did the show last week? There's a Q&A now that Spotify has. Tell me in the Q&A. I will see them and we will talk about. Email us, voicemail us. Tell me how this.
Yeah.
Because the left screamed loud and proud about how people took PPP loans but yet don't want student loans to be forgiven. Tell me how this is any different because you're about to fulfill. And the thing is, there are 350,000 jobs. 350,000. Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
The other part is,
but there's no one to fulfill those jobs back in. There's no one going to be there to fill those jobs back in.
The other part too, though, is this is a union that is pensions.
Yeah.
Not the taxpayers. This had nothing to do with government shutting them down or anything like that. This is them making a promise that they could not fulfill. So.
And all that was the biggest issue right there. So that got swept under in a rug in a nutshell that I didn't see anybody fucking talking about that. Oh yeah, I saw this. I thought this was fantastic of Arizona. Did you see their version of a wall?
About it, I didn't actually see like a picture or anything. Looks like railroad cars.
No, yeah, it's
shipping
tractor trailer shipping containers. The shipping containers are literally snaked along the border between Arizona and Mexico.
That'll work.
I mean, if the federal government isn't going to put the wall up on the bordering state,
and that'd be built pretty quickly too. You build the foundation and you set them on. It looks like they're too high. So a shipping container is usually 10, 15 feet high. So that'd be like 20 feet.
Yeah.
And you put some razor wire or something on top, you're good to go. You know,
I
again-
give Arizona a lot of credit for that. That was ingenuity. That was, and the best thing is they probably had all those carts sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, taking up space. They can't be used anymore. The thing is with a wall is it's never going to stop anybody. Just like the walls of your house are not going to stop somebody from coming in. A door on your house is not going to stop somebody that wants to come in and will come in. What it is it's a deterrent to make it more difficult so that only the most determined make it in. Not millions of people just, wandering across.
There was what was it? I was flipping through TikTok, and I guess there's a new trend of people just kicking in doors.
Like random house doors?
Randomly. Yeah. And
That could end badly.
I looked at it, I said, I wish a fucker would. My wife goes, what are you going to do if someone breaks in the house? I will strip naked and I will go outside and I will
Wrestle
lather
them naked.
myself up in baby oil and I will go. Oh,
Didn't we have this conversation like a month ago about
Yeah.
I'm going to wrestle them naked?
yeah. No, that was because we were talking about the dark side of wrestling and how Andre the Giant didn't like baby oil. And a lot of the new wrestlers that were coming in, Macho Man was the one of them. Always wanted to put baby oil on. I was like, man, let someone fucking come in my house. I have an idea. They will think twice.
When they see a big, fat, hairy Santa Claus full of baby, you just pour it on your head so it just runs all over. Start rubbing it around your chest. Okay, let's go.
We're gonna fuck around and find out.
I may not know what I'm doing, but you know what? You're gonna be very uncomfortable during this fight.
Oh
my God. Oh, so during wrestling today,
all right.
one of the guys, when you're wrestling, sometimes you go to reach and sometimes your hand doesn't go where a body part is, and it's just nature of the
Someone
sport.
grabbed balls.
Someone grabbed balls by accident. So I was laughing because he gets up and he's holding it. He's like, he grabbed my balls. I'm like, oh, he went for the old 5-on-2.
That is why I never wanted to wrestle.
It doesn't happen often. It's by
No,
accident.
because
usually.
I mean, no,
I can't imagine somebody just. I'm gonna go out and grab his balls, but
that would be my biggest worry. Is someone gonna go and just reach out? I mean, because that singlet's very tight, and that brings them fucking
by
exposed.
Design. Yeah, it definitely shows off your package. But I always have people ask if I stuffed. Do you stuff in them singlets? I'm like, nope. That just makes your package look 10 times bigger for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but like, I love the way my package looked in them singlets because I don't look that good in a pair of underwear or naked. But you put me in a singlet, my package looks huge. But but no, so I joke around and laughing. I go, oh, he went for the old 5-on-2. And he looks up and he's like, 5-on-2. And he holds up and I go, yeah, 5 fingers. And he goes, then what's the 2? And I'm like, oh, you'll figure out when they drop.
2 balls.
And he's,
oh man,
it took him like a good couple minutes as he's wrestling someone else. And he looked at me and he goes, Coach, did you really just say? And I'm like, yep.
Fantastic. That was great.
I'm glad you're so naive that it took you that long to figure it out.
All right. So this was something that was announced today, which I'm highly shocked that it even fucking happened, or actually announced yesterday. So back in 2021, Colorado gay club had a bomb and shooter and everything.
That they were saying was a white supremacist turned out to be another gay guy.
Yep. So it got the case got thrown out. Why? Nobody wanted to fucking cooperate. No witnesses wanted to come forward. Everybody just fucking said, nope, not doing it. The judge had no choice but to throw it out because everything was actually based on people's account.
Yeah. From Yahoo News, but it's actually from the AP through Yahoo News. So
yeah.
Yahoo. So one thing you'll learn whenever they put the AP there, basically what that means is they didn't like change anything or rewrite it. They literally just copied and pasted it.
They copied the Associated Press. Yep.
Yeah. So this says the Colorado Springs gay nightclub shooter had charges dropped in a 2021 bomb threat case after family members who were terrorized in the incident refused to cooperate, according to district attorney and unsealed court documents. The charges were dropped despite authorities finding a tub with more than 100 pounds of explosive materials and later received warnings from other relatives that suspect Anderson Lee Aldrich was sure to hurt and murder a set of grandparents if freed. Documents. In a letter last November to State District Court Judge Robin Chittum, the relatives painted a picture of an isolated, violent person who did not have a job and was given $30,000 that was spent largely on the purchase of 3D printers to make guns. Chittum is the same judge who ruled to unseal the case Thursday. Aldrich tried to reclaim guns seized after the threat, but authorities did not return the weapons. El Paso County District Attorney Michael Allen said, the case includes allegations that Aldrich threatened to kill grandparents in a chilling confrontation during which the suspect described plans to become the next mass killer more than a year before the nightclub attack that killed 5 people.
Yeah, so because people didn't want to fucking cooperate, this guy got to fucking walk. All because 10-1, the alphabet soup of the LGBTQ did not want to prosecute their own.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
It is.
If it was anybody else, the alphabet soup would be going after them. Not trying to downplay it, not trying to hide it, nothing.
This
it's
is not
hypocrisy.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. Doesn't matter what his preference in life, whatever. This is a dude that decided to take it in his own perspective. Kill 5 people.
Yeah.
But yet now, because everyone got scared and didn't want to fucking come to terms with it.
They didn't want to be the one to call out one of their own.
You're going to let this man go free and have the opportunity to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, this dude's probably going to be watched for the rest of his life.
Aldrich,
but it's not the point.
Is a they them. So he's not even a when we talk about the alphabet soup, he's not even just that he's gay, he's trans. He uses they them.
Give a shit. Was that boobs that he's supposed to have under? No. Man boobs. Whatever.
They found and seized handguns, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, body armor, magazine, gas mask, and a 12-gallon tub with explosive chemicals.
My thing is when they said 30 3D printed guns, reminds me of that time in New York. They did a few months ago, they were doing a gun buyback, and a guy printed like 100 100 3D printed guns and walked away with like thousands of dollars because he turned in ghost guns. He made more money than he spent making those guns.
Yeah.
Who got fucking played? I'm sorry.
You know, the thing is with 3D printed guns too, unless you put a metal has metal
Firing
inside
pin.
of it, metal firing pin, metal tube, all of that, metal barrel. You really only get one shot before the whole thing. Every video where someone has done that and tried to use all 3D printed, they get one shot and the whole thing like cracks. Because
Yeah, it's
those gases
it's
are
supposed to be meant for one shot, but people are fucking dumb.
well, you want to
the-
hear dumb. Okay, so I gotta play this because I found it.
Sure.
Let me pull this up. Give me a second. So rather than playing videos at the end, I'm just gonna pepper them in throughout.
Works for me.
Okay, you see it?
I can see. Oh, good lord.
Just listen and listen.
I've heard. I've seen this one. She's a fucking idiot.
Discharges 20 rounds of ammunition per second.
No shit. What button I gotta press to make it do that?
I own a Glock.
I mean, he's absolutely correct. I
own a
wish I
Glock.
knew where a button was on my gun that could do that.
I have tried to fire that thing as fast as I possibly can. I cannot. I know some people are really good at timing the trigger pull just perfect, so it sounds almost automatic. But even then, you're not
remember
getting 20 rounds. Even if you had a magazine that held 20 rounds or 30 rounds, you're not getting that many out in 1 second.
a buddy of mine, like years ago, he let me. He got a brand new 22, and we went out to the shooting range, and he let me shoot it. But we were next to a guy who was also shooting his gun, and we timed it. I shot, he shot. I shot, he shot. Well, the game warden was in the area and was like, "Who is shooting an automatic rifle?" And we're like, "No, we just have really fucking good timing." He goes, "Bullshit." So we did it again while he was standing there to watch. He goes, "That sounds like," I was like, "Yeah, but it's two guns."
Yeah.
It just one shoots than the other, but the echo crack makes it sound.
That. So next time I go out shooting, I'm gonna try that to see if I can time that with someone else with a pistol and just see if we can get it to time correctly.
It wasn't even like we planned it. It was an accident, literally.
Now I remember someone calling because so in Michigan you can go out to any state forest.
Yeah.
And target practice.
Sure.
And the problem is some state forests evidently have people that live close enough that I don't know what they think is going on. You live next to a fucking state forest. If you're not hearing gunshots on a regular basis, why? But yeah, me and a buddy went out and we were shooting. And of course you go through, the first 50 or 100 rounds and you're going slow. You're trying to get your accuracy down. Then you start kind of playing games. Okay, let's see who can hit the target the most times as fast as we can and stuff like that. And of course they called the cops on us and the cops came out and, I holstered my weapon and, I was talking to them and they were laughing with us about how stupid some people were and stuff. So then the officer, because we had clay pigeons because we were out skeet shooting also.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And where we shot, we made sure to shoot where there was like a hill behind it so that it didn't overshoot. And so we hung a bunch of clay pigeons on trees and he goes, "This is going to be fun. All right. I want to see who can hit the clay pigeons the fastest without running out of rounds, or who can hit the most clay pigeons." And he set them all at different distances. So of course the first one or two, were really easy. After that, it's like, oh shit, this little clay pigeon is tiny, looking through my looking through my site, and I ended up getting it with one left. It was 5 clay pigeons, and it took me 10 rounds because I have 11 10-round magazine, one in the tube. And so I ended up winning. But you know how pissed off that person must have been that they called the cops. The cops came out, and then they're bullshitting with us to see who can hit what. They had a blast out there. You know, I gave them some food for lunch because we had extra sandwiches and stuff, and oh, it was great.
Fucking. And then, so nobody can ever say I did not go after people that do stupid things. So one of the last few things I wanted to I have one other thing after this I wanted to talk about. So in Florida, a Republican legislator who helped, quote, pass the law that, quote, they say don't say go, which is the parental bill.
Yes.
He had to resign on Thursday due to the fact that he was indicted for defrauding the federal government coronavirus program. If this is the case, that he actually did defraud and whatnot, then yes, he needs to lose his seat and he needs to be brought to justice.
Yeah.
If it's a fishing expedition, then the federal government needs to fucking take the dick out of their ass and move
The
on.
hard part about it right now is you have to think that every time something like this happens. You can't just say, you know, prior administrations, you see something, oh, the federal government is going after this person in a certain state on federal charges. You're going, oh shit, that guy fucked up. Now it's like, did he really fuck up though? Or is it that they don't like him and they're trying to come up with something?
Yeah, that is the ultimate thing. They have a nice little news segment on it. I'll pull up here. Wee. Good day, Orlando. I actually used to live in Orlando, Florida. I actually remember.
The only thing I know is Disney in Orlando.
If the sound would, if I remember to turn the sound on, it'd be great.
Sounds good. 1 month after officially winning re-election, State Representative Joe Harding is now resigned.
Well, this comes as he is facing federal charges for allegedly defrauding the government out of PPP money. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth has the story.
The Republican lawmaker posted the resignation on his Facebook page. It is effective immediately. Now, Harding is accused of falsifying bank records to get more than $150,000 in COVID relief loans. Harding represented District 24, which encompasses Marion County. Now, in his post on Facebook, he thanked Floridians and everyone he worked with. Harding said he couldn't get into details, but said in part, quote, "For now, let me reassure my constituents and the taxpayers that I repaid every penny of the loan I obtained, and I have done my best to cooperate fully with all authorities." Harding is best known for sponsoring the Parental Rights and Education Bill, which opponents dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill. Harding's trial is set for January 11th. He faces money laundering and making false statements. If convicted, he could face a combined total of more than 30 years. Under Florida law, the governor will call a special election to fill his seat. Randy Hildreth, Fox 35 News.
The PPP loans, if you follow the program correctly, is a grant and you don't have to repay it. If he has repaid the money back, how is that fraud?
Right. Well, I mean,
that doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, that's him saying he paid it back. But, you know, again, we're taking his word versus the state's word. And the thing is you don't know.
Well, no, the federal government works.
The money, by state, I mean big S.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and that's the thing right now. And that's so hard for us. You know, people talk about misinformation and disinformation and all this stuff. This administration is such purveyors of misinformation that we don't know what to believe. So
it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be something to watch. They said is in June, his trial. So we'll keep an eye out for it. We'll see where it goes from there. The last thing is California just wants to give people fucking money because they can't get nobody to live in their damn state.
yeah.
One, they want to do a payment program for trans people in San Francisco. So San Francisco wants to launch a guaranteed income program for transgender people. And
Now, is that pre-op or
it would be
post-op?
for,
'Cause, I mean, I can say I'm transgender if it means getting money.
sure. So the guaranteed income for trans people is a gift pilot program that will provide 55 eligible residents with $1,200 a month for 18 months, as well as healthcare and financial coaching. You can't
do they
live
have
on
such a
$1,200 a
problem making
month
money?
in San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the overrun places of homelessness. They have a poop tracker app. And it's so high in homelessness because you can't live there unless you're making
Nancy
$500,000
Pelosi
to $1 million a year.
Yeah, you need Nancy Pelosi money.
Yeah.
The other one here, this is from the UK's Independent, says that descendants of slaves in California
yes.
could receive $200,000 in reparations.
So you have to get a test, a genealogy test, to be able to date yourself back to your ancestors if they were made slaves in the United States.
Really? Did they like take DNA tests back in the day to
I don't
compare you again?
I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know how that's gonna work because my thing is that I don't know why we're even doing it. What, slavery ended almost 200 years ago?
150, yeah.
Sure. We all have to remember slavery is still going on in the world. It's just not here in the United
140.
States.
My bad.
Okay.
140.
Still long enough to really just it's
Because their
nothing modern in the United States.
Grandparents. But again, they've been given reparations. Half the stuff that is in the federal bills for subsidies and giving out these inner city whatever, that's essentially reparations. That's why a lot of African Americans don't leave the city, is because they're given so much there.
Correct. And I mean, California's, I think, just trying to get people to move to California. And they're trying to just play their cards. And how are you going to keep someone on the hook? Give them money. I'm sorry. They're just literally just trying to bait and switch this.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is like, why it goes back to that whole democracy versus republic kind of thing that we watched that video on, and giving reparations and stuff like that is anti-republic, because you're literally saying, well, even though these people never actually did anything to you, we're going to give you money from the taxpayers that did nothing to you to pay you for something that some of their grandparents may have done to you, done to your great grandparents.
But you have to remember, with it wasn't the white man that sold them half the time. It was your own. It was Africans.
Most of the time it was tribes selling other tribes, conquering other tribes.
Tribes selling, or they were selling their strongest, their workforce. They were selling them. And was it right? No, it wasn't right at all. That is human trafficking. Human trafficking in its term is the most terrible thing in the world. Being adult, child.
Well, and don't forget,
women.
The term slave comes from Slav, because the Slavic people were some of the first slaves in Europe.
Irish, they were the first slave. They were like indentured servants in.
No, they were slaves.
New England.
Not
area.
everyone. Not
They were
every
slaves
Irish was
too.
an indentured servant. And indentured servitude is they make it so that you can never get out of it. It's like saying I'll pay you $10. I'll pay you $10 a month, but you owe me $20 a month.
Yeah. So.
All right. I have a couple videos. We'll play some videos.
Sure.
So let's end this on
see what we can on a good note.
Yeah. Here's just tear this person apart because she's weird. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people? Mothers?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that,
What are they if they're not mothers?
they're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language? It's just interesting.
I
because
prefer to use precise language.
it's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then when I
try to
use-
be moral when I can, but
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language,
To include
and
who?
it seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
So, like a person who's born a woman and then identifies as a man.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that in order to be a moral person, I need to accept the idea that a man, someone who is born a man and looks like a man, can really become a woman. That's a prerequisite of my being a moral person.
I mean, yes, to me it is, because if you are trying to deny someone of their identity and deny what their life experience is, then that doesn't seem like a moral stance to me. I want to be accepting and I want to respect people's life experiences and respect the way that they want to identify and respect the way that they want to present themselves to the world.
Bronte, I would
Yes.
like to identify, I do identify actually, as the correct person on this issue.
I identify as a two-souled penguin. That's what.
Okay, so a pregnant person, you mean a woman?
A
No,
mother.
a pregnant person, you mean a mother? A pregnant person. Listen, I have never seen a man be able to give birth out of his urethra. Could you imagine trying to give birth coming out of
I
that
don't think
tiny
my
little
balls
hole?
would handle that.
Nowhere in the history of birth has it not been a woman. I don't care what you call.
I don't.
Nowhere in the history of ever has it not been a woman. Just like people that say, well, there's such thing as intersex. Yes, which means that it's like a woman with like a gonad that didn't dissolve, or a guy that has like an unusable fallopian tube. I've never heard of a person that has both a penis and vagina at the same time. That can shoot sperm and receive sperm and have make a baby. Never in the history of ever.
That would be the most unawkward genitals I would ever look.
You're trying to imagine.
Like,
how
because
that
if
would
you
work,
think
wouldn't
about
you?
like how women's jeans are, it's like really tight right there. How would that?
You would have
No.
both a vagina and balls in front of it. Or maybe
Nope,
behind.
that was nope. Nope. Don't want it. Next video.
So, yeah, so don't give me this whole, well, there's intersex people. That's bullshit. I mean, not saying that they don't exist, but it's a bullshit argument.
It absolutely is. Next.
Next. This is a funny one. And kind of on topic. This is from Riot Comedy. At Riot Comedy on TikTok.
Let's see, come on. Hello? Hello? Who's this? What? You called me. Kamala? Biden, this is Putin. Hey, Putin, man, I was calling you because, hey, man, listen, man, you got Brittany Griner in jail over there. We want her back, man. Come on, man. I'll give you Griner, but you must give me Victor Bout. Come on, man. You want a guy that was caught selling missiles? Kill American troops, man. No Victor, no deal. Okay, listen, Putin, if you're not going to give us back Brittany Griner, stop calling. You called me. You're losing your mind, Joe. I'm not losing my mind. Listen, man, I want to tell you like my daddy told me, big dogs might have big barks. When I was a kid, I remember I used to smell bacon and eggs cooking and run downstairs in my pajamas, man, and we would eat lasagna. And by the way, look, you can thin out any shit with enough piss. Hello? Hello?
You
kids
can
better
thin
stop-
out enough ship
Oh,
or
where
shit
was I?
with piss.
Oh, yeah, call Putin.
Again, that's from at Riot Comedy. Those guys are great. That pretty much sums up how I think the call to Putin went.
It's probably how it went. Pretty damn near close.
Yeah. All right. So we got rid of that one. Got rid of that one. Last one. This is a shorty. And we'll end it on this. You see it?
Yep.
All right, I got one. How many Democrats does it take to change a light bulb? None. Biden just says it's fixed, and the rest of them just sit in the dark and applaud.
It's about how it works.
Yeah. I think that's about right on. So, all right. With that, go ahead and say our goodbyes. See you guys. Ryan will say his goodbyes, and we'll head out of here.
Well, this was episode 56 of Fire Talk Radio. I hope you all had a great night. We will see you next week again, and Jason will hit the contact button and close us out. Good night, everybody. This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform.
We can only count to four. 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 Numbers. Lots of numbers.
Moo.
All right. See you guys.